Hello, Lead Podcast family, and on behalf of everyone at the Lead Podcast, we just want to say thank you for walking this leadership journey with us. It's had its fair share of highs and lows, but we can safely say that it's been nothing short of extraordinary. Now, if you've been watching the Lead Podcast for long enough, you will know that we always talk about creating ecosystems, and we also talk about what Lead in the Lead Podcast stands for. And it represents lead, empower, and develop. Now, for the longest of times, we have been leading in the space of podcasting, and we feel that now is the time for us to put practical expression to the empower and develop aspect of what we do. So, this is a call for everyone who is talented in the areas of public speaking and presenting, or photography, videography, and editing, or graphic design to come on board. This is how you're going to do it. You are going to create a video that is no more than 1 minute long, where you are showcasing your talents. Once you have created this video, you will then upload it on either Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok. And please ensure that you tag the Lead Podcast and include the hashtag The Lead Podcast and the city that you are residing. Once you have submitted, then we will review all the entries, and ultimately the successful candidates will get training in podcasting and an opportunity to bring the Lead Podcast message to your city. So we'll be looking forward to seeing your videos with keen interest, and good luck, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
We learn how to use the weapons of the East and the weapons of the West.
Yeah.
So that if I capture the British, I can take the rifle, I must know how to play with it. All right? So to capture the American, I must be able to know. So
Yeah.
we learn all these bunch of weapons. But not only weapons, but bombs as well.
Yeah.
And we exploded bomb. You see the smoke there, you don't know what happened. But it's their bombs.
Yeah.
We learn how to do the TNT bombs,
Yeah.
how to do the PNP-10. PNP-10 is like
Yeah.
clay. Yeah, you just you know, and put pin
Yeah.
and you ignite it there. Oh,
Yeah.
you see spooks.
I
Yeah,
can clearly see how this is very exciting. Well, hello and welcome to yet another installment of the Lead Podcast, where we are passionate about all things leadership. Today's leadership journey has brought us to the economic hub of South Africa, in Sandton, where I'm sitting with someone who is a business luminary and also a struggle veteran, a published author. You know what? The list is endless. So allow me to introduce to you today Dr. Mathews Phosa. Welcome to the Lead Podcast, Doc.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manyak, for giving me an opportunity to talk to you and answer your questions as best I can. We are in Bryanston here.
Yeah.
We're better than Sandton.
You're much better. I thought Bryanston was well within the surrounds
No
of
worries,
Sandton.
they're probably well now within our surroundings.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting perspective. Tell us about who Dr. Mathews Phosa is. Can you just trace us about regarding your background, where you grew up?
It's a long story. If you're serious, you want to know it?
Tell me the short version, please.
There's no first version to it.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in many parts of the country.
Primarily?
There's no primarily. I was born in Nelspruit in the old township called Bombera. It was a squatter camp.
Okay.
My father was one of the first few teachers around there,
Yeah.
you know, and we had to grow in an environment which was Swazi.
Yeah.
And the first language I spoke was Swazi. And as I was growing up, my father felt I need to go and be rooted in my traditions.
Yeah.
Understand who exactly I am. Not a township boy,
Yeah.
you know, but a proper African rural setting.
Yeah.
He sent me to my grandfather and my grandmother. You see the photos here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in outside Mukalakwena, the place called Poland.
Yeah.
Very humble rural area, dominated by Lutheran church, you know, very Christian background, where we farmed.
Yeah.
We caught fish. We hunted,
Yeah.
you know, rabbits and other animals in the bush. You know, when we wanted to have fun as young boys, we chased baboons off the mountains.
Yeah.
And we set the dogs against them, and the baboons will fight back, kill one dog, and will cry. You know, this was our life,
Yeah.
the rural life. And I'm going to primary school there, you know. And then I passed from the rural village,
Yeah.
and then I went back to Mpumalanga, what is Mpumalanga today, next to my parents. And I went to a school called Orobelani. At that time it was called Maripi, but now it's called Orobelani in Bushbuck Ridge.
Yeah.
Mecan Hook, Bushbuck Ridge.
Yeah.
That's where I went to secondary school. And that school was very much Afrikaans dominated. You know, 85% of our subject we did in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
So you had to think in Afrikaans and dream in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so fluent in Afrikaans and write poetry in Afrikaans and publish
You
them,
even published
publish
books,
them
yeah.
for our school children to study.
Sure.
You know, I learned it there. And then at that school, not only that, we did a lot of scientific subjects.
Yeah.
And of course, that's when Mathews Phosa was politically born.
Yeah.
You know, became aware of the gross injustices of apartheid.
Yeah.
You know, and we resisted. And we paid the price for doing so.
Yeah.
A number of us as students, very severe prices, but we
Yeah.
took a stand against apartheid.
Yeah.
And our placards were saying, away with apartheid.
Yeah.
We didn't miss our way as young men in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, the school had this matric farewells from every group of matriculants.
Yeah.
They decided that no, for that year, when we start from 4 at the time, as we call it, the matriculants will have 2 parents' days. One attended by local farmers, white,
Yeah.
and other by our parents, black. We said, we don't have white parents. Why do you want us to have such this strange racial entertainment?
Yeah.
We're not going to be part of this. So we sabotaged all the choirs we were supposed to sing in the first one. Badly sabotaged them and protested publicly that day, Friday.
Yeah.
All over placards. The school was a Christmas tree. Us young guys protesting against apartheid. And we were arrested and isolated in different places.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know where you were, you didn't know where I was, what was happening to me, what was being asked me. Yeah. You know, security police were brought on the school. This terrorism of us took a long time.
Yeah.
Until one day they said, no, they preached against us at the assembly.
Yeah.
With terrorism, communism, and all the rubbish. We just said calmly, you know. And then, of course, then they said that they'll announce our fate. They tell all the students at the school. And the students were wondering, what is our fate? You know, we wondered ourselves, and we decided, okay, whatever it is, we'll take it. Then they called us to the principal's office outside there and said, your fate is in your hands. You either get expelled and go home, or we're going to whip you on your naked bums. Naked bums.
Yeah.
We said, well, we need to discuss the options amongst ourselves. You will give us time. The principal said, I'm giving you time to discuss.
Yeah.
Well, the overriding decision was that if we agree to be expelled, it's our parents who are going to suffer, it's us who are going to suffer. We're going to lose years of education. We're not doing that because of apartheid. We're going to spite these guys. We're going to say, you hit us, but none of us must cry or scream. Let's not give them the pleasure of being sadist.
Yeah.
We must take the punishment and keep quiet. You know, that's sambok.
Yeah.
See queer in Afrikaans. It's long and it's skin.
Yeah.
It hits you and then it makes a hole on your side of your thigh. I still have a black mark here.
Sure.
Even today, after so many years.
Yeah.
They beat us about 15 times. And none of us screamed, none of us cried. We didn't give what we thought was the enemy joy of crying. We took the punishment. We went back to class. And the ladies were not involved. We just mainly asked the men. And when we arrived there, they said, what happened? And I remember Biza, one of our classmates.
Yeah.
His palms were red, like all of us. He opened his palms in class and said, this is what happened. The women were saying, woo, woo. And they were surprised, we were very calm. We took our punishment for standing against apartheid with dignity. So that's radicalized us.
Yeah.
And of course, then we went to University of the North, which was very, very radicalized as
Yeah.
well. During those Black Consciousness Day.
Yeah. It was actually a hotbed of quite a lot of political activists as well.
It was not the only one. The University of Mpumalanga was hot. Fort Hare was hot.
I believe Fort Hare as well.
It was very hot, and then some of the medical schools were hot. But the issues there, Black Consciousness was pushing very strong that we be politically active.
Yeah.
And we became conscientized, that's what we used,
Yeah.
to take a stand against apartheid at the national level. And Black Consciousness turned things around politically. It was only opium we smoked at the time.
Yeah.
And the campus was boiling. But we studied. We went on. I did my first degree, BProc,
Yeah.
and passed in flying colors. And I did my LLB. But the interruptions were many.
Yeah.
For example, in 1974, there was this pro-Frelimo rally when Mozambique became independent.
Yeah.
And President Machel was marching from Rovuma to Maputo. It was electrifying. We turned the University of the North into a Christmas tree. The placards were all over. You know, it's called blocks.
Yeah.
They were all over there. And then celebrating the victory of Frelimo
Yeah.
in Mozambique. And then we were saying, well, Foster, you have seen what happened in Mozambique.
Yeah.
Who next? Who next if not you?
Yeah.
We determined that if Mozambique can be free, we shall be free.
Yeah.
Well, we paid the price. We were ill-treated for taking a stand.
Yeah.
For example, we had a meeting at the hall, University Hall, and then the police chased us out. And we were on the soccer field there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a karateka myself. Forget about this intellectual stuff. I like fighting.
You can kick some butts if necessary.
Mawashi Kweri. Yeah, I like that.
What's your den, by the way? Did you?
I didn't go to Den. I go to the green belt.
Okay.
But I love martial arts because it's ethical, character,
Discipline.
ethics, etiquette, all that. So I remember this soccer field where our sensei is a teacher in karate, Francis Utloho.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive in Atteridgeville. He was a teacher, a trainer, sensei. So these police dogs were coming there. And they're trying to set the dogs on us. We said, no, guys, Aka, let's kick these dogs.
Yeah.
We kicked them. We pushed the police away. We chased the police away.
Yeah.
They ran away. We messed them up.
Yeah.
We did not know that we were planting a seed of anger.
Yeah.
But we won the day, that day, 1974. 1976, fast forward, the student uprising in Soweto happened. We're still at Teflop.
Yeah.
I remember that night when the stories came that the theatre machine was leading this march and people have been killed. We met in the same hall. We're debating this issue. What's happening? Ngoya was debating it. Forte was debating it.
Yeah.
And then we said, guys, they're killing children because they don't want to be taught in Afrikaans. Seriously? And they kill them. That doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
We need to take a stand as students at the University of the North. And while we were there, the University of Zululand burned the hall. Ashes. The smoke was up. So one of the students stood up. They said, guys, we can't lag behind.
Yeah.
The University of Zululand is up in arms.
Let's do our own version of this.
This is how he put it. If Ngoya did it, we can did it too.
Yeah.
No one can forget that. So
Yeah.
we can did it.
Yeah.
We went to sleep. And then the following day, it was confrontation. But the police, who were beaten up in 74,
Yeah.
had come better prepared for us.
Yeah.
You know, they chased us out of campus. We had to run out of campus for our lives.
Yeah.
They were ready prepared. They had vicious dogs, many police force. They drove us out completely.
But people were not shot dead in this
No.
instance. Yeah.
We ran
Because I'm
out.
sure there was quite a fallout from the whole incident.
No,
that
they
happened
didn't
in
shoot anyone.
Soweto.
We spoon down. We ended up in the high school called Huiti next to Mankweng.
Yeah.
They were chasing us. We just went to sit with the students in classroom like this. So they did not know who was student, who was...
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
To get our covers. But we outran the dogs in all directions. They
Yeah.
scattered us.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Professor, the Vice Chancellor closes the university.
Yeah.
And they call us with loud hailers, come and fetch your luggage and go. We went in there like police escort. Take your pack your luggage and you go. We left, went back home. Not knowing when the university will open again.
Yeah.
You know? These are some of the traumas we went through, but just the prices we had to pay to fight for freedom in our little spaces. And to speak, people gets killed that time. And you know, Donald Wood, the journalist, write about it with a lot of anger. I mean, it was just a lot of things happening at the same time. We went through, we came back, went through. I left university with 2 degrees, a BProc and an LLB.
Sure. So despite all of these disruptions, you still sat down.
Yes, we never lost focus on studying. Yeah, we took the punch of apartheid, but we went to continue to study. We left, and I was very lucky. I went to a Jewish firm, which was identified by Martin Roberts. At the time, I used to work part-time for them. They were their lawyers, Godfrey Rabin. Godfrey Rabin was a great commercial lawyer, you know. And when I walked into his office, he said to me, Matthew, these toilets are for all human beings. But remember, those days were black toilets and white toilets.
The color bar was very much in effect.
These cups of tea are for all of us. These chairs are for all. Imagine if you had to say that. Because when you walk out, apartheid was ruling.
Of course.
That time. And then I saved articles there, very commercial, 99.99% commercial. That's what I was taught there. And I qualified. I passed my board exam in 11 months only. Whereas I should have stayed for 2 years. And I spent other time learning how to be a better lawyer. You know, today I'm this commercial lawyer I am today because of Godfrey Rabin. And I'm indebted to that old man, may his soul rest in peace. It was an interesting family. His son is still alive, Derek. He was a lawyer. He's still a lawyer. He was a dramatist. His younger brother, Trevor Rabin. I don't know if you've ever heard about a group of music called Rabbit.
No.
Go social media. Rabbit was the first Beatles of South Africa. Pop. You know, they would play in the Colosseum and everything. And you will have drama there, women throwing panties on the stage, I mean, drama and everything. They were really the Beatles of South Africa. You know, him and Duncan Fairport and others. It was a family of music. The old man was a conductor of the Johannesburg Symphony Orchestra and an attorney. It just shows you can be multi-skilled if you want to. If you want to. You can't just be the love of money, but the love of art and culture and people. It's important in life, you know, to break the monotony. And then that's how I was brought up. And I said to him at some point after I passed, I need to open a law firm in Nelspruit. I was born there. I said, you can go, I'll support you. But the partners, because we're making a lot of money, were sulking a bit. And I told him, they're sulking, I don't know why. He called them and said, hey, leave this young man. He taught me one lesson I carried in life. Let him grow and be himself. Don't stop him. Support him. And they supported me. And I was talking to Phineas Mujapelo and Ephraim Makhoba, my friends. Phineas was my classmate. Ephraim was behind us. We went to open a law firm in Mpumalanga, the first black law firm. When we opened the law firm, we were told, no, you can't open a law firm in town. It's a Group Areas Act was still in place. We're going to evict you and prosecute you. We said, you dare it. Do it. We're prepared to take them on in court and embarrass them. And that time there was a debate in National Party by P.W. Botha on what must happen to Group Areas Act. We took advantage of that. But we said, dare charge us, we'll fight you. They left us alone. When we went there, these white firms thought, no, these guys will do commissioners' work, blah, blah, blah. What? We did exactly what they didn't expect us to do, commercial work. We emptied their cabinets. It came to us. All black business from Bushbuck Ridge and Mkomas, everywhere, they came to us. We let them eat pap in our offices in Morocco and Nyama. They felt home in our offices. We're very successful. In no time, we're driving some of the most sophisticated cars. We're not married, we're youngsters, excited about life. You know, and full of enthusiasm. You know.
But also changing people's lives, you know, when you're a lawyer.
It's
not, it's the exclusive preserve of, you know,
the first case which we did, it was a very interesting case. It was where a guy killed a security police. And when we defended this guy who killed a security police, I mean, the whole town was shaking. This security police said, these black guys must be terrorists. They must know something. We didn't know. We didn't know that guy. But we defended him. The people who came to us. But it created awareness of our existence. And it was flooded with work like that.
But did you not get bullied by the apartheid government for that as legal professionals?
No. We're not going to allow it. I told you. The group I told them, When they said they would charge us, I said, go ahead and charge us. We'll show you. Never charged us. And we did a lot of political cases, a lot of commercial cases, estate, third parties. We divided ourselves. I was more commercial. Mujapil was doing estate, third parties. He's very good at the small details. Makuba was doing criminal work. He loved it. He loved it. He's a good criminal lawyer. So a combination of youngsters. We enjoyed it. And Makuba left for Polokwane, and I left for Mujapil. We continued at Phosa, Mujapil, tennis. And then, of course, that time I was busy in the underground of the NC.
Yeah.
I was doing political work.
Yeah.
I didn't call Phineas to help me. I continued to do it. I had started earlier in the underground when I was still in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I continued it. We smuggled arms. I received guerrillas in the bushback areas and made sure that these guerrillas are armed.
Yeah.
And they have money to be able to buy food. Okay. Some of them are still alive. And then, of course, some guerrillas emerged from wherever they emerged, we did not even know. You remember there was first in Komati, when Mozambique made South Africa sign some, South Africa was made to sign a peace accord.
Komati Accord.
Which washed out a lot of NC leaders out of Mozambique. But can you ever wash the NC? It's not washable. So there are those who remained.
Yeah.
But then, when that happened, the first Komati, a lot of commanders lost contact with soldiers inside the country. And these guys started to gravitate towards looking for help. And one of the people from whom they asked help was me.
Yeah.
With no money, with no medicine, with no what. So I went to Swaziland. I met Ibrahim.
Yeah.
He made solace in peace. He was a deputy minister. He died. Archie Abraham is ambassador in the Kar Republic, Central African Republic, still alive. He was here the other day. Those people, Ricky Nkondo and others, Pidiswe Twala was the wife of Pakistan. We had worked together. We worked together. And many other people, Swazi people, give the Swazi people credit, give the Basotho credit, give Botswana credit, give the Zimbabwean credit. We don't give them credit. We treat them as Makwarakwere. Yeah. These ungrateful South Africans, these people supported our struggle with their blood.
Yeah.
They died for us, and they sacrificed for us. They give us shelter and food.
Yeah.
These frontline states and beyond. So we were all together, all of us. And let me tell you, it was very, very important that we work together. This protected the soldiers in the country.
Yeah.
The Swazis were some Swazi people like Njabri Swazis Lamine, who was here with interviewing her for my next book. Giving us money, bring money this side.
Yeah.
There were other operatives, bring weapons. The political and military struggle was hot. You won't believe it, up to Hamaja.
Yeah.
Outside
In
Polokwane.
Limpopo, yeah.
Yes, we did DLBs, bought dead letter boxes, planting arms. Up to there, beyond the work home.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was part of what we were doing.
Yeah.
Bushback Ridge was on fire. There were soldiers there. One day, those flashes. I mean, I was defending so many cases. I was defending Halam Masurumule from Hamasurumule Mshat and Tito Mantada from Mutogwa.
Yeah.
The MK guys. I didn't even know they were arrested, but Tom Mantada was at SICC then, South African Council of Churches, said, look for these guys. I looked for them. I found them. I wrote to Lechrans at the Minister of Police. I said, you will produce these comrades.
Yeah.
You are going to produce them. If you don't produce them, I'm going to take you to court. Habeas corpus, produce the bodies. Then I was told that in Middleburg prison. I want to collect the families. I went there. So I remember when I arrived at Masurum Mshad, I said to Halam's mother, I've come to fetch you. I want to take you to go and see your son. I said, Manaka, my son. My son is in Lusaka.
Yeah.
Yes, just, what can I do? I said, your son is in Middleburg. He's been arrested. How? So I took the old lady there.
Yeah.
Just crying, Mantada's father came, and of course, we introduced them.
Yeah.
I made one mistake when I went to see those comrades the second time. I bought a magazine.
Yeah.
With guns, pictures of guns. So I want to give them the comrades. This prison warden said, this lawyer is crazy.
Yeah.
These guys were arrested with guns. He still gives them pictures of guns. But I still wanted them to design others in cells.
Yeah.
I had never even thought about it.
Yeah.
But I was guilty of giving them pictures of guns. I mean, seriously. But we defended them. A brief honest
Yeah.
our former Deputy Chief Justice.
Yeah.
He was an advocate. He was an attorney like me. We briefed him a lot. And of course, in the middle of that trial, one of the operatives in Bushbuck Ridge in fact, a number of them were exposed. I remember Malupi was in a house with Elfas Mukhali. Elfas Mukhali is still alive. He ended up in Robben Island because of the activities.
Yeah.
And then those are some of the unsung heroes of our struggle. And there we go. And Malupi's and the house is surrounded. They're shooting, more than 20 police shooting at this house. Malupi's was Mukhali in the house. It said, this is going to be overpowering.
Yeah. Did he have his children with him there? I mean,
no,
just shoot
there was one
randomly at a
small
house?
boy. They knew there was an armed man there. It was exposed.
Sure.
Then Malupi says to Mukhali, get out of the house with this young boy. They won't arrest me. They will not catch me alive. They were shooting. They come to the house. He took his pistol. He shot himself. He died there on the spot. Said they will never catch me alive. Tabang, that's how Bushbuck Ridge and are getting arrested. I mean, it was chaotic. Me, I'm in Middleburg defending these two.
Yeah.
The Daily Mail carries front page story. Terrorists are arrested in Bushbuck Ridge. Terrorists! Hey, I'm worried. This my comrades are arrested.
Yeah.
This is going to be complicated. So we go on with the trial.
Yeah.
And then also I go back to Nelspruit. I begin to, because we had infiltrated security as ANC. We recruited them with the permission of the ANC. We knew how to, up to head office, Comport, where the chain of people working with us in the ANC. Security police, some of them had flag pass, work with us. Like Sinkim Khabud, he's still alive. They work with us. So then one of the guys, Malaza, was in Nelspruit. I said, Malaza, what's going on here? He says, Mfoka Baba, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're looking for a lawyer. They don't know who this lawyer is. Then they arrest another comrade. I won't mention his name. I will not mention his name in any of my interviews.
Yeah.
I always protect him. They broke him down. They broke him down badly. They brutalized him. Captain Mashiru, may his soul rest in peace, that devil. It hit him and the guy fainted. Only woke up, he did expose me as that lawyer they're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm there, I'm in Middleburg at court. So Malaza says, if there's any danger, I'll send so and so in a yellow Passat to come to you, come and see you. When that morning I woke up, I see the yellow Passat at Midway Hotel. You know the Midway Hotel? Yeah, I said, it's tough now. Ne? Just seeing the Passat, I knew it was tough. So the lady comes, she tells me, okay, fine. What do I do? He says, hey, he didn't say what you must do. I go to court. The trial is going on. I sit there that day like this. The police are all looking at me, but they now know I must be arrested or killed.
So they're just respecting the proceedings that are happening.
They're respecting nothing. They're waiting for a moment to arrest me.
Yeah.
So this Brigadier Bossman sitting looking at me at an angle like that. I said to myself, this guy must be thinking he's looking at the terrorist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'll be that real terrorist. I'll be slippery.
Yeah.
I said to the Khan, I have to leave. Imagine I leave my advocate in court. He says, Mfanagit, what happened? So I explained to him. He said, where are you going to? You want to go to exile? You can't do that. You want to stay. I said, no, you don't know. You know nothing. I'm leaving. I took lunchtime. I disappeared.
Yeah.
Sure. They come back
but
after
now aren't you a fugitive from justice now? Because obviously these people want to arrest you.
That time they did not. I did not know they want to arrest me.
Yeah.
So I left because out of survival. I didn't take the road to Nelspruit. I took the road to Emelo this way. Okay. Through the maize field. Yeah. Yeah, and then of course I went back to Nelspruit because I wanted to see Malaza. And there were no cell phones those days. Yeah. So I sent a message. I said, let's meet at Ngwani Valley Inn outside Kanyamazan. It was a dish like this. We sat there through the evening. He said, Poet, these guys decided they're going to arrest you. But Compol sent a message that they must assassinate you. I said, but why don't they give me a chance to be arrested and defend myself? He said, they say if they give you a chance, you might be discharged and you won't stop your ANC activities. So it's better they eliminate you. I said, oh, I see. What is the agenda? Who's going to eliminate him? He mentioned a name. I don't want to mention it. But later it became popular from one of the Askaris. Yeah. And I said, so I'm going to go now. I didn't tell him how I was going to go, when I'm going to go. Because I had to be careful. Went home, packed, suitcase, said to my wife, because I was always going to Swaziland for new orders. I'm going to Swaziland. I didn't say I'm not coming back. Just this silence about me going without saying anything more.
Yeah.
Now, I said I'll use my time bodocade. I had a pistol, 7.65.
Yeah.
I said, you know, the way to not to raise suspicion is to give these people my passport and surrender my pistol. They will think I'm coming back. There's no suspicion. So the word is really not out. Because it's the following day, I disappeared from court.
Yeah.
I sneaked out. I said, whew. I changed my card from the BMW 735, nice one, into a small little Mazda.
Yeah.
So it's very much incognito. I go out. Oh, you have seen how I drive big hills. I couldn't believe I've left.
Yeah.
I left.
So that's how you got into exile, basically.
That's just a small part of it. Then I left, and then I looked for my guys who I've been consulting with NC guys. I found them. PLC, Tosi Memela, Bali, all those guys. We sat there in one of the hotels. So I told them the story. I said, actually, Zuma is around in Swaziland. They're going to consult with him. They consult with Zuma. Zuma says, he can't go back.
Yeah.
He can't go back. There's too much on the ground this guy has built to be exposed. He must be taken to Maputo, finish.
Yeah.
So, Comrade Paul Dikeledi, may his soul rest in peace. His wife is still alive, and his children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
It's Peter Mutau, his home name. Paul Dikeledi was MK name.
Yeah.
And he took me to Maputo. And then from there I was received by the High Command in Maputo. Zuma was commander. Keith Mukwape just died recently, may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
Farouk Timur's brother, Farouk, and then Stu Repkin, David Repkin, they were in charge there. And I was received in a proper way. And I was named, I was baptized. I was told my name is no longer Mathews Phosa, my name is Freddy.
Yeah.
So I am Comrade Freddy.
Yeah.
I'm the commander of Mozambique, Freddy.
Yeah.
If you ever
Assumed a
heard about
different identity.
That's my name and MK name. And then from there we started to do our work.
Yeah.
In that time, ANC was going to this Gabo conference. With the discussions, political things, should the white people be involved in NEC or not? And we in the UDF had far ahead. With the Busaks, the Borains, were not debating those issues. So when they were debated in the national movement, we said, what's going on here? These guys are supposed to lead us, but it looks like they're tailing a bit.
Yeah.
But those things matured with the forward. And I went to Lusaka. I was called to meet Oliver Tambo and Thabo Mbeki. Committee, I was dealing with foreign affairs then. They asked me, right? First of all, when I arrived there, I said I was going to stay in Counter Square. I thought, oh, it must be like Santon Square. You know what it was? It was a squatter camp called Counter Square. I lived there.
Yeah.
Counter Square.
Yeah.
The real squatter camp. So this is like,
You always think a square is something that's
but it was really squatter square. Yeah. But named after Count. So I go to Tabo's house, we meet. They said to me, what do you want to do? I said, what do you have in mind? I'm here, I'm at your service. My ideas were different from theirs. That time Zimbabwe had just been free.
Yeah.
And it was fashionable for professionals. Doctors go and set up, lawyers go and set up.
Yeah.
They tell me about these things. I said, no, I'm sorry, Comrade President. I want to go and fight. I left soldiers on the ground. I left activists on the ground who look up to me. Not up to me to go to exile to make money.
Yeah.
Money is not an issue with me. Freedom is the issue. I want to fight. So prepare me to fight. 2, 3, they sent me to East Germany.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore. That's when there was the war, Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
So I went there to a Marxist school to learn politics.
Yeah.
Marxism, Leninism school, you know.
Did you also get military training there?
Just cool down. I did military training.
Yeah.
I did intelligence. I did police work, right? How to investigate a case. Get your spittle, your blood, to find the culprit, all those things. We learned a lot of intelligence, counterintelligence. We learned military work. We learned how to use the weapons of the East and the weapons of the West.
Yeah.
So that if I capture the British, I can take the rifle, I must know how to play with it. Right? Captain American, I must be able to know. So we learn all this bunch of weapons. But not only weapons, but bombs as well.
Yeah.
And we exploded bombs. Boom! You see the smoke there, you don't know what happens. Break your bones.
Yeah.
We learn how to do the TNT bombs,
Yeah.
how to do the PNP-10. PNP-10 is like clay. Yeah, you just you know, and put pin and you ignite it there. Oh, you see spooks.
Yeah, I can clearly see how this was very exciting for you.
For young soldier.
Seeing things blow
when
up.
we're shooting, shooting lying on our stomach in the cold weather, you know, we would call our targets boaters.
Yeah.
PW boater. Let's shoot the head. Shoot.
There's a boater.
It's a boater killing a boater. Yeah. So we were having fun training. But one day, when we're there, and that's what killed fear in me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
We're throwing grenades first time. When you throw grenades, it's like they dig a thing like that, trench, in that way. You're standing there, almost like your height. You throw the grenade, and it hits an object, whatever. But you pull the striking pin. It explodes. When it explodes, it's the sharpener will go like that.
Yeah.
So it means you got to lie down quickly. As it flies, you lie down quickly.
Yeah.
I was a bit slow. A bit slow, but it didn't hit me. But I got so frightened I could have been killed by myself.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
And that jogged me into kill my fear.
Yeah.
You know? So you go through these things, and they shape you, they make you into a soldier. And of course, fast forward, we came back home. Home was Lusaka.
Yeah.
Then they deployed me back to Mozambique, where I came from.
So the national the headquarters of the ANC at the time in
was Lusaka.
For the benefit of those who didn't know, was Lusaka.
It was Lusaka, capital of Zambia.
Yeah.
Give credit to the Zambian people.
Yeah.
Give big credit to the people of Angola.
Yeah.
The people of Mozambique.
Yeah.
People of all these countries who we kwere.
Yeah.
Because of our arrogance. They sacrificed for us. They never chased us around. They never stabbed us with knife. They gave us weapons. They gave us shelter. They looked after us. So I go to Maputo. When I arrived in Maputo, they say, border 2. I went to the border. My first commander was Keith Mukwapi, the one who just passed on.
Yeah.
Like I say, may his soul rest in peace. We were perforating the border between South Africa and Mozambique.
Yeah.
We were making holes. We're sending personnel and ammunition and guns and everything through the border. That was our job, to make sure that we send people to go and fight.
Yeah.
We were working there.
Yeah.
And then later, Keith left with that second command. I took charge of the border situation.
Yeah.
Right? Then, of course, there were a lot of shuffle in Mozambique of command structure, which at the end ended up with me being command.
Yeah.
I was commanding people who were 15 years in exile before me. You know, very hardened commanders.
Yeah.
But good comrades, great comrades, like A.B. Chekane.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the younger brother of Frank Chekane. We used to call him Isco.
Yeah.
I was afraid he was Isco.
Yeah.
Smart guy with intelligence. Teddy Coleman, all those guys. His wife, Pussy, and all those guys. We're all there.
Yeah.
It's a team. Yeah. With all functionalities on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, we operated from there like a machine.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Yeah, and please feel free to answer it or not if it's uncomfortable. Were you guys also involved in the incident that happened at Sasol, where there was an attempt to bomb the place?
Of course we were.
So from Mozambique, you were
yes, we were
intimately involved in that.
Yes, we were. With our guys. You know, one of the guys who was involved there. He's still alive. Kasha Bangu.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Sure.
Before I left the country, I went to see him at the death row. Yeah. You know, and I went there with this uncle we had never seen. I took the uncle there with his niece, and then it's in the death row. He says to me, "Comrade Phosa, victory is certain." How can you say victory is certain when you're going to be hanged? I don't even know what will happen. He said, "Comrade Phosa, victory is certain. Let's fight on." Imagine a prisoner, young, saying victory is certain.
Let's fight.
Yeah. You know, Comrade is still alive. My friends, my partner in businesses. Life is interesting.
Yeah.
I was defending his relative. He's my partner in business. War is over.
Yeah.
And now, I was dealing with the border situation. And then at that time, they put the razor wire at the border. the fence. You know, it's got nails like this. This thing goes into you like this. It pulls out flesh.
Flesh, yeah. Damn it.
Yeah, you bleed. You bleed like you're going to die. Right? You bleed like you're going to die. Right? And then we said, but what do you do with this razor wire? You know, we're always suspicious as guerrillas. Is it poison or not? We must get a piece of it. There was one guy called Boy. I won't mention his surname. Don't know if he's alive or not. We didn't trust him. We thought he was a spy. So let's test him with this mission. Let him go and cut that fence for us.
Yeah.
Boy went. He cut the fence. He comes back. He's bleeding on his trousers. They're torn.
Yeah.
It's blood all over. He underestimated the razorness. Phew, this guy's bleeding. Shame. He did it. Oh, did the Afrikaners give it to him or not?
Yeah.
Anyhow, he brought it back. We were testing him. We test the guy as a spy, what they can execute.
Yeah.
You know. So we sent it to Lusaka for testing. There was no poison.
Yeah.
So then the next thing, we start making manholes to cross. You know, we're working with people in Nkomazi, in Buzini, in Goba village. Margaret Sibitano, Sapela. She's still there alive. I've interviewed in one of my books. She's coming out. She's still there with her daughters. They work with us from inside the county this way, going this way. With the old man in Kala.
Yeah.
You know, can tell you stories about him. I'll tell you today. And then, here we go. They put electric fence to try and stop us. We continue. We don't stop. We can't stop a guerrilla. A guerrilla is like an ant. It's like a termite.
Yeah.
In fact, our unit was called the termites. Bagege.
Yeah.
The termites, which will eat the trunk of a tree until the tree falls.
Yeah.
That's what we were called. Right? And then the next thing, Mashallah dies in the middle of all the drama. The plane falls not far from where we were.
Yeah.
At night. It's so demoralizing that a president of a country should die in that manner. Clearly sabotaged.
Yeah, that's the sentiment that most people carry.
I said in one of my preface in the book, the people of Mozambique donated to our freedom the blood of their president, amongst others. And it's true, just too literal for me.
Yeah.
And now, we continued. And while we were continuing, I'm called to Lusaka to go and do a very interesting mission. Because there was this thought about negotiations, ANC unbanned and all these things. To go to the ANC prison in Uganda.
Yeah.
I've been told that it is in an interview. Because there are all sorts of scoundrels. Because when Namibia was going to be independent, the Afrikaners insisted the ANC must move their camps out.
Yeah.
So some of them went up to North Uganda. Give credit to Uganda. They hosted our camps there.
Yeah.
So I went there the mission was read all the security files, which I did.
Yeah.
I read all security files. I know those who are alive today who were spies. I do know them. And they're still alive. I read their confessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll keep it to myself, to my grave.
Yeah.
So I went there and then I met these guys. Sure, a lot of them had committed murders. But when I arrived, I found a lot of Taha smokers. I said to Lusaka, why do you keep Taha smokers here? We're going home, guys. Let's release these Taha smokers. There was no resistance. We released them. So what remained was a class of murderers. One guy had killed 35 people in Eastern Cape. And after killing 35 activists, they compromised him and said to him, you will go and infiltrate the ANC. They taught him how to poison. You know? Others different. The South African security will teach people how to do all sorts of things to kill us. They taught them how to make poison from walk in the kitchen, see poison. Battery, Saf, soap, this.
Yeah.
Basically, we don't think, but they put them in food. You're going to be in trouble. You understand? They were telling me different methods of poisoning. You know, they told me a very interesting experience. You'll find it interesting. Because one of the comrades, Pushkin, who was in charge of the prison, said to me, a lot of pigs died here. The ANC always kept piggeries, because what do you do with dirty food? So breed them and they can eat the pig later.
Yeah.
The pigs died. And nobody could explain why the pigs died. So I said to them, guys, tell me, man, who killed the pigs? They laugh at me because because I released the Takas Moga, they thought I would release everybody. So they're friendly to me. I was like the judge, they called me the judge.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, seriously? The pigs, yes. No, we made dough. It's a very interesting story. We made dough. When you give these pigs a lot of dough, they eat it.
Yeah.
But it creates a rope in the intestines. It constipates them, this dough.
Yeah.
So the pigs were constipated by dough and they died. They said, we're tired of feeding them. So kill them with dough.
We got rid of them. Yeah.
Got rid of the pigs.
Yeah.
As I reported to Mountain, he saw rest in peace. His wife is still alive in Northwest, in children. And this is how the pigs were killed. They gave them dough. Okay, yeah. But then, fast forward, I said to the leadership,
Yeah.
all these guys who committed these murders, I think generally they must stay until we go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we release them into the country. They must stay in jail. But there was this thing of say, but you know, some kill 5, others kill 35. You know, what do you do? Those who were around 5 we said, maybe we can assess them and release them. But it was up to the leadership to decide what to do.
Yeah.
But I made vague formulas about it. They're not the same. The guy killed 35. I asked him, how did you kill so and so? He says, I took his own pistol. I said, hold this pistol, put it in your mouth. Shoot yourself.
That is cold.
Yeah, he tells me, because he thought I'm the judge, I would release him if he tells me the truth. But he told me. One day when we came back from Mumbai, I was on radio talking. I said, no, comrade said, go to the radio and debate with him. So I reminded him of that incident when he killed someone. I forced him to kill himself. He says, who are you? He ran out of the studio. He knew that it must be that guy who was asking us questions.
Yeah.
Of course, when it went on like that, and here we are.
Yeah.
Then they called me from after the mission in Uganda.
Yeah.
We think he must come to Lusaka. And then Mandela was coming to Lusaka. When I arrived there, they said, listen, you're going home. Right?
What year is this now?
90 at the beginning.
Okay.
You're going to be part of the people who start negotiations. Just like that, guys. No, I need to go back to Maputo and talk to my forces.
Yeah.
Go and come back. I went. I remember I met Buddhists and Bruce and others. Guys, I have to go home. The ANC wasn't banned then. They said, no, but you know, come up, Freddie, we understand. It's time we negotiate. But remember one thing. All we know is how to pull a trigger.
Yeah.
We've not been to school. Make sure that when we go home, we get education. Or our children get education. This is the task of the guerrilla as we become civilians. We must think about educating one another and our children. And of course, I left them. I went to Lusaka. Kumetabo, Maduna and Zuma had already left. And I met Kumetabo, who briefed me. He said, here's your ticket. You fly by Botswana British Airways. You go to South Africa. Who's going to receive me? You will see some guys who receive me. This is. I said, are you sure they won't kill us?
Yeah.
No, though it's all discussed. You must go home. This is tough.
Yeah.
This is the choice of a soldier to obey the order or to disobey it and be punished. Yeah. I had to obey the order to come home, not know whether I'll come out alive. Yeah. And so did Maduna. I don't know Zuma, but with two of us, we did not know. Zuma was more involved in the negotiations. So we came down. Here we come down. I'm alone. So in the plane, Just master then. The tall guy, when the plane lands, walks in. I can see he's walking. No one is allowed to get out. He walks next to my seat. He says, are you Mathews Phosa? I didn't move. I just kept quiet. He says, are you Freddie? I said, yes, I'm Freddie. I said, no, come to fetch you. I thought he has to trigger me, otherwise I'm not going to give him what he wants. Yeah. I'm carrying a sling bag, wearing boots, khaki trousers, no jacket, nothing, no jersey. They could go out. They opened the bonnet of the plane. They said, pull out your suitcase. I said, I don't have a suitcase. I said, what do you mean you don't have a suitcase? He said, oh, you're carrying. I was carrying 3 slacks, 3 pair of socks, and the only shoe I was wearing was my boot. Yeah. I said, no. He said, you don't trust? I said, of course I don't trust you. Don't know who you are. So I don't have any luggage. They couldn't believe it. They had 3 cars on the tarmac to load me and take me around. And then they took my passport into the airport, cleared it. I had phoned Phineas Mujapelo on the landline, but there was no at the Botswana airport. I said, I'm coming. He's standing that side waiting for me. He never saw me. They whisked me behind like this. And the next time we were driving to Lanseria. I was not sure where we were. And they had been told that I'm one of the guys who interrogated Derek Coetzee when he defected with NC. Of course I was. We spent 14 days interrogating Derek Coetzee in Zimbabwe, in Bulawayo, to squeeze him out of the truth.
Yeah.
So we could get the structure of the army, the structure of intelligence, military intelligence, police intelligence, to get the whole organization. Because we assumed the war is going to continue.
Yeah.
So we need to know the enemy.
Yeah.
So we took a lot of information from him. And to understand, he was a commander of the hit squad. He is one who said to me, "Are you Comrade Mathews?" Yesterday he said, "You survived by a few hours." In my face. You survived by a few hours. You're lucky. You know? And then so those things were happening. Yeah. And then they said to me, we're driving into Flag Plus.
Yeah.
They knew what Flag Plus would do to my guts. I mean,
that name already conjures up images of a lot of terrible things that happen to people.
He told us. They know it will click to me very easily. This is a very sick joke. I said, guys, you win. I didn't panic. They said, "No, Mr. Phosa, we're just playing." They drove me to Mr. Dean's lodge. It's no longer there, on the way to Lanseria. Very nice lodge. And of course, we sat there, we found Zuma. Come Zuma, Maduna. Then it was Kenny Ndlovu. May his soul rest in peace. He died. He was the leader of UDF. He was a part of our team from inside the country. And we started preparing for Groteskir talks. Yeah. Those talks where you see us today in that picture, you know, we started, we led to those talks. The comrades started coming from exile in trips and trap. We prepared for the table for the big delegation of the ANC. But in the run-up to that meeting, we argued about everything, including the agenda and the delegation. Yeah. So when we gave them the list of our delegation, they see Joe Slovo, Chris Hani. They said, you're not serious. You can't bring Joe Slovo so early in the talk. Yeah. Guys, it's our delegation. Yeah. You can't,
just because they were communists?
Yes. They're very anti-communist. Chris Hani. We said, you can't tell us who our delegation should be. And we will not tell you who our delegation should be. That's not negotiation. This is our delegation. Joe Slovo is there, Chris Hani is there, John Brees is there. Whatever you may think about them. Yeah. Then the declared us out of the country. Professor Kharfel Yoon was acting president. I think he called me and said, no, let them come. Then they said, after the first talk, what are we going to do? So we're going to Mitchell's Plain for a rally. Yeah. Trevor Manuel and them were organizing these things. So we went to the talks, talks about talks, really. Yeah. But before that, they sat down on the table. There was, we said, no, these guys have never talked to each other away from the table. Let's put wine, cakes, cheese there in the wine, and let's see how they relate to each other. Then we had Magnus Malano, John Budiste, Flock with Chris and talking and laughing. How these guys, they're looking at each other through the sight of guns. Yeah. Now they're joking and joking. Strange bedfellows. Yeah, they're just human. They sat there. It didn't take very long, that first meeting, and they let us take in that picture. And of course, the rest is history. We had many interim working groups and on political prisoners, on this. But we insisted that for this talk to succeed, the police must get out of, the army must get out of the townships. All prisoners must be released, political prisoners. All exiles must come back home. No hanging must take place of political prisoners. Nothing. That's part of leveling on the playing field. And that we will then settle down to talk. But we said, you can't talk as the National Party and the ANC. There are many political parties in the country. They have to be around the table. Even if they're from the homeland, we want them around the table. No one must say, they left me out. So we ended up with 23 political parties at Codes. Fast forward, we produced an interim constitution. After 4 years. 4 years, we used to drink Rachmakers there. We're tired, we're working into the night. We're not even able to see our families. We're just focusing on creating a future South Africa. Day and night, that's what we're doing. You know, and we're not being paid. We pay 2,000 per month. But it was not about that. In exile, we paid nothing. It was our sweat and sacrifice. We're not used to salaries. You know, you hear people fighting about salaries. We're not paid. As long as there's food, we're happy. Go and fight. You know, we must admire South Africans. They used to say to us, those were so-called the front areas. That is where you get people going to the country. Come and pull me out of the camps. I want to go and fight. South Africans are brave. But you don't say, pull me out. I want to go and fight. I can't train and sit here. They used to fight about going to fight.
Yeah.
That's South Africans. They're heroes and heroines. You know? So we're used to all those type of things.
Yeah. Allow me then to fast forward. You know, I think you've answered a good 20 of my questions, Dr. Phosa. Now, at the advent of democracy, a new government needs to be established, and you find yourself at the helm of leading what we now refer to as Mpumalanga province. So please walk us through that, some of the highs and the lows of
Yeah,
that
because
experience.
I was very much involved in policing work. Police chapter, the first framework was done by me and then the Skrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was big argument. Is it a federal structure in this country, or is it unitary state? We want the argument that it's a unitary state with those features.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Mandela said, no, you're not going to play any other role in the police. You're going to become Premier of Mpumalanga. It's a difficult province. You're going to reconcile people there.
Yeah.
I saluted, I took the instructions. You know? And we went to Mpumalanga. We won it by a high margin. Not these margins of today. High margins in the 80s. And we ran a very good province. We did good work for our people.
Yeah.
The N4 became 4 lanes from 2 lanes, passing Wheatbank. You see Mathews Phosa Street, it was not there. You know, let's talk about things we do. We built an airport which never existed, it was a tobacco farm.
Yeah.
Built a huge riverside mall, which did not exist. It was a place where there was a Swazi village under when we were excavating. We run the N4 into the Maputo Harbor, so Maputo Corridor, which won the Africa NEPAD Award as the best infrastructure project.
Yeah.
We did great things there in that province. We stimulated economic growth.
Yeah.
You know, we tolerated no corruption. 3 MECs beat the dust in the context. I don't want to mention their names. But we're fighting corruption from beginning. We never tolerated it. For us, service delivery was important. Building new schools, building roads. Those were things we wanted to, we did. And the legacy is there. You can't remove it. It's written there in different names. But I'm alive to say, I'm proud I did that for the people of South Africa. We built the biggest government complex. No province has that today, after more than 20, 30 years. It's the only one in the country, that complex with a dome. The dome is parliament. The rest are offices together, one stop. You know what was the rationale? Have one stop for government. Cut the cost of chain. What is the chain? You have to drive around delivering a letter. Creating costs. Everything must be together. And with technology today, we ran ahead of our time. Because things move like seamlessly like that. You know, in the air, if you want. But they move. So I'm proud of those footprints we left there in Mpumalanga. I'm proud of those legacies. They will live for 100 years after I'm no longer even a bone underground. I'm very happy. And that we took a stand against corruption and crime. You know, we made sure that the farmers and the farm workers stop the tensions. That people live together nicely. You know, we try to address people's fears, which was our mission, but to unite South Africans. You know, I'm proud of it. But then when I left. And then that's what happened.
Now I'm very glad that you speak about the issue of farmers and tensions between farmers and the people, the surrounding communities, which probably happen to be black. We know it's very well documented in the news now, this controversy that got stirred up regarding AfriForum and how some people would say it's a disinformation campaign where Afrikaners are saying that they are being subjects of a genocide. So please just give us your perspective on some of these things. I know it's stirred a lot of controversy in the space, in the media space, and also in the public and at large. What's your views on that matter?
My view is very simple. I was chairing the presidential committee which dealt with Section 25 of the Constitution. Exactly where we're sitting here. That's where those amendments were made. Here in my office. There was a team of 10 people. Bulelani Nxoka, Pikoli, Judge, I mean, a lot of these are. And I was leading the team of parliamentarians. What did we do? We said Section 25 of the Constitution does not need to be removed. It needs to be made clear to everybody how it must be operationalized. You understand? And that there must be a responsible way of dealing with Section 25. And therefore, without impacting on the economy negatively or agriculture negatively. And we sent that report to Parliament, and Parliament approved it. There was no issue. AfriForum It's deliberately distorting that what I've said to you now. It's not written in the Constitution. They're lying.
Yeah.
And therefore, they should shut up. Stop misleading this dramatic president called Trump. They're lying.
Yeah.
And I think the African Forum knows that they're lying. Because Constitution, everybody can read that Constitution. And you're talking to the right person now, who led that discussion for 3 months. This table was full of research material. And we came to that conclusion that don't remove Section 25. Just make it clear. But we said the government must not hesitate to return the land. But the government sits on millions of hectares, which can be given to the people.
Yeah.
And I still believe that those millions of hectares must be given to the people.
Yeah.
People need land. You understand? But every forum is distorting. Whereas it's not in my nature. But they're distorting the truth.
Yeah.
And that should be enough.
Yeah.
And they should be treated with the contempt they deserve. You know.
Yeah, because they're making it look like it's out and out, expropriation of private people's property.
No, but it's there in the Constitution. How can they make something that does not exist?
Yeah.
If Trump has got anything between his ears, he must read our law. If he's got brains between his ears, he must read our law. He doesn't say so.
Yeah.
No.
And what's your views on the man? Because since he's assumed office, the geopolitical tensions have definitely risen. And I think a lot of what he's doing is, in my opinion, a lot of shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah, but he's messing up the American economy right now.
Yeah.
The stocks are falling down in America.
Yeah.
They're shocked. They don't know how to read. So the injury is at home. If you shoot me, you shoot your foot. He's shooting his foot many times.
Yeah.
But South Africa must keep a calm head. When a dog barks, you don't bark back. You just look at the dog. The dog will get worried about you. Why are you not barking back? We must never bark against Trump.
Yeah.
We must engage him.
Yeah.
Transactionally. We must check, what is it that you want, Mr. President? Because this thing of African Forum is not true. Just come with another story. And explain to him what the facts are. And engage Americans.
Yeah.
Like we must talk to everybody. We have no business to take sides. You know, India, Modi goes to every part of the world.
Yeah.
I think it's a role model. He doesn't get far into street fights. He goes to America, he goes to Russia, he goes everywhere. There's a lot of lessons to learn from that Indian diplomacy. I'm sorry, that's how I look at it. We have no business to be shuttled around.
Yeah.
Throughout our history, we've been non-aligned as ANC. And it worked for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made us natural peacemakers.
Yeah.
So that we must restore our status as peacemakers as ANC and as South African government.
Yeah.
We must create peace. We must educate the people who are at war. That war takes the worst out of you, and peace takes the best out of you. I repeat, war takes the worst out of you, and the peace takes the best out of you. I learned that as a soldier. I was told by Mandela and Sisulu and Communist and others, impose peace on violence. We're angry when people have been killed in this country. They said, cool down. Don't think with your heart.
Yeah.
Think with your head.
Logically, yeah.
And that's leadership. Right? Rise above your petty anger. It's not your anger is not national anger. It's yours.
Yeah.
Don't graduate your anger to be national anger. National interest is somewhere, and you must define it and serve it. Your personal anger cannot serve national interest.
Yeah.
I can go on and talk about the lessons of leadership. But these are some of the harsh lessons we learn as young people with boiling blood.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, Dr. Phosa, your political home, the ANC, has suffered much electoral decline, especially in the last elections, where the ANC, for the first time, found itself having to assemble a government of national unity, as it were. Please tell us, what in your view are the challenges that you saw that resulted in this situation with the ANC, and what the ANC can do, for instance, to recover from this with the next elections that are coming up?
It's not the first time. 1994, with the government of national unity.
Yeah.
We declared.
Yeah.
We had majority, but we decided in national interest, again, I come to the issue of national interest. Let's bring back some semblance of white leadership. Declared, we made him second deputy president, those sunset clauses.
Yeah.
We made a few of his guys like Roof Mayor, Louis Vessels and others, ministers. That was the first government of national unity.
Yeah.
They worked out on their own. We didn't chase them away.
Yeah.
You know. Then this scenario evolves. I predicted the ANC would get 44%. It got 40.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying the ANC, if we do nothing, we'll get 30%. we have to pull out our socks.
Yeah.
We were forced into a platform of saying, let's get another government of national unity with a bigger participation,
Yeah.
Irrespective of size of votes, to try and create one national voice. You must give us credit as a government. I'm not part of a government, but it's my government, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
It's working. Now and then you hear noise. Democracy is noisy. It's healthy, there's noise.
Yeah.
They must argue about VAT and tax. They must do that. It doesn't mean the roof will come down.
Yeah.
There's no Samson there putting the roof down.
Yeah.
It might happen that some of them walk out. Goodbye, let's add others there.
And continue.
Yeah, national interest must be served, not by tantrums
Yeah.
and short-temperedness and temperament. National interest must be served by cool heads who understand, and I'm answering part of your question. If the ANC or any other party want to survive, they must build roads,
Yeah.
must build streets, must build dams, they must make sure there's clean water, they must build houses, they must remove the potholes, must stop load shedding,
Yeah.
must deal with job creation. People want it slogans
Yeah.
or policies.
They
We
want
must,
tangible
we must create
solutions.
capabilities in our state organs to deliver. Because at the moment, we've got good policies, we've got cash, but we don't have capability to deliver.
Yeah.
In some cases, we've got capability to steal.
Yeah.
We must stop that. Must
Yeah.
cut it out. Must reduce crime. Must protect women and children.
Yeah.
We must protect the disabled in all their shape. Physical disability, mental disability. We must protect them.
Yeah.
Must assert their human rights. I speak as chairman of Special Olympics South Africa.
Yeah.
People with intellectual disabilities. But I also speak as a voice for disability. All disability. And we must advantage them. We must think about the poor.
Yeah.
These grants, I think the private sector cannot fold its arms and say it's only government that give grants.
Yeah.
Private sector must create a fund and also mediate switching the government somewhere in the middle. I'm busy discussing this with another insurance company. I won't mention their name. How do you support these social grants
Yeah.
as private sector? You understand? How do you make sure that as private sector we contribute towards economic growth? Because this economy must grow. If it does not grow, it won't create jobs.
True.
We must attract foreign investment. If we're busy punching each other in our faces, foreign investment will not come to this country. We must make peace, guys,
Yeah.
and unite in a national interest. For me, when you miss the point of national interest, you are not a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't serve yourself. You can't serve only your party. That time is gone. You must serve national interest.
Yeah.
If you are forced into alliances, be magnanimous, but be principled.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be made to crawl on your knees.
Now, Dr. Phosa, you've also reached the uppermost echelons of the ANC, admittedly so, and you've worked with quite a few presidents, in fact, all of the presidents of the ANC. Can you just describe their leadership in as little words as possible of each of the presidents of the ANC?
There are no little words, but they're not little, these guys. That's why they're president.
I wanted to give you one word to describe them, but I felt it was unfair.
They all have their different strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Mandela was magnanimous. He was a leader of his time.
Yeah.
We thank God for having given us a Mandela at that time, who led us into this new South Africa. I can describe him in many ways. We thank God for having given us his successors.
Yeah.
Thabo Mbeki was good with economy. He did very well. Can't take it from him.
Yeah.
He had his weaknesses too. On HIV, in being denialist, accusing people of plot which did not exist and all those things. But those are side issues.
Yeah.
In the economy, he did well. Zuma has his own things. There are things he did well, by the way. He introduced what is antivirus
Yeah.
to stop the death of people with HIV. How can you not give him credit for that? Zuma did that and other things. But he had this perfume which people did not like by associating with the Guptas and those things.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of things which were around him. What is fact? I don't know. What is not fact? What is fact is that Nkandla killed him as well. Because the court pronounced differently on him. But what else?
Yeah.
Each one has got strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Kuma Kgalema was magnanimous. He served a short period, but his character is that. He's a peacemaker.
Yeah.
He's a unifier. He overarches, and he's like that. He's a subtle diplomat. Can't take it from him.
Yeah.
He's like a soccer player. He knows how to bring things together. You know. And then Commissario, he's a diplomat. He's a negotiator.
Yeah.
You know. But the only problem is he needs to be more decisive, and he knows it.
Yeah.
You know. It means well
Yeah.
for South Africa, and he's our president, and we don't have another one now. And we
Yeah.
must support him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think he dilly-dallies in an effort to reach some sort of consensus, which is oftentimes, in fact, impossible to do because you can't make everybody
Well, he's
happy?
perceived as being indecisive. He is perceived.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is a character which maybe is
Yeah.
understood or misunderstood.
Yeah.
But he would have wished that he could cut it much quicker. Yes.
Do you have any ambitions to run for the office of the presidency?
No. I'm doing very well in business. I'm enjoying it. So it's such a lot of fun
Yeah.
to sit here and groom future leaders in business
Yeah.
and future leaders in politics.
Yeah.
The legacy I want to leave is of the most successful entrepreneurs in this country.
Yeah.
The knowledge I'm dispensing every day, creating new junior miners, creating new entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
is a knowledge which, when you lower me down 6 feet down, it cannot follow me.
Yeah.
It's legacy of knowledge,
Yeah.
of entrepreneurship. That's what I want to leave as my legacy. Yes.
Now, Dr. Phosa, I also believe, well, it's quite commonly known that you're a published author. And there is a new book that has just come out fairly recently. Can you please just tell us about that?
That's a long story. It took me 7 years to tell.
Yeah.
So you want me to tell me in how many minutes?
Okay, please give us the name of the
The
book.
book is Witness to Power.
Yeah.
I was lucky and privileged to be this legal advisor to Mandela with my other colleagues. To sit there and watch things being done, but participate.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a spectator, but it's another thing to watch it and to be a participant every day. I live with these things. I live with working with Kometabo and Zuma and Cyril to the end.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, there were highs and lows, but life is like that.
Yeah.
I'm proud as a South Africans that we've had this 30 years of a democracy. Our duty, it doesn't matter what our views are, is to protect this democracy and make sure that it never fails. Democracy will not fail if people have got something to eat, they've got jobs, if they've got clean water, if they've got roads, if we invite more investment in this country, we create more jobs. Democracy can't fail in that atmosphere of growth. Democracy can only thrive. Let our democracy thrive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Phosa, we are a leadership podcast, and what we espouse is obviously the principles of leadership. And one of the most beautiful one is leadership legacy. And you've touched on a bit in terms of that, where you say there's young people that you're grooming, both in business and both in politics as well. And I see you sitting here in your office as well, that you have a Mathews Phosa Foundation. Can you please tell us what your foundation is currently
My foundation is dealing with education.
Yeah.
Exactly what I'm saying. We focus on important issues, making sure that there are books in schools and universities. But the books, up to technology books, we deliver them throughout the country and across SADC, Swaziland, Zimbabwe, Botswana. We deliver knowledge. It's very important. We deal with water in rural areas where there's no water. We never raise our flags. We never boast and call ourselves billionaires or rubbish. We just do our work with the communities. We support schools. There's Mathews Phosa College in Limpopo, in Bochum. I found the matric camps, that school, in thousands of rands. There's Mathews Phosa in Mpumalanga. I put
agricultural college, no?
No, Mathews Phosa College is a secondary high school.
Okay.
I put 2 million of my money from that in that school. And we fund education. We do all those sorts of things. There's Mathews Phosa Marathon, right? Mathews Phosa Marathon is not just a marathon. We deal with early childhood education and other disabilities. And that marathon may live long beyond me. I will continue to fund it every year. It's from my pocket. Now we've been busy now trying to support the veterans of the movement in trying to raise funds so that the veterans are not neglected. And I'm one of those champions who say, let's not forget where we came from.
Now, Dr. Phosa, there's always a young Mathews Phosa sitting out there watching, and they've already put you on a pedestal. And I think your contribution to the struggle for the liberation of South Africa is very well documented, and you're definitely a luminary in that space. But tell me, what would you say to the young Mathews Phosa who sees you now as a leader? How would you encourage them?
I'll tell them to do better than me, and not to say he's a role model. No, he's a role model that they must beat.
Yeah.
and surpass and do better than me in serving people. Service is everything. You know, it's service in public life, service in private life. If you miss out on this, on being servant leader, you have missed out on the whole game.
Yeah.
Young people must aspire to acquire knowledge. Because without knowledge, they're unarmed in this hostile world.
Yeah.
They must be educated. There's nothing else better than education.
Yeah.
And no one can take it away from you. You can have 10 million. Tomorrow it could be blown away.
Yeah.
But if I have my skills, you can't take them away.
Yeah.
I'll always find my way through life. Education and education and education. Learn and learn and learn. That's what we should tell our young people. Yeah.
Dr. Phosa, thank you so much
you.
for attending the Lead podcast. We really, really appreciate you taking time. We know that you're a busy person, but we appreciate you coming on this platform and speaking to us and encouraging our viewers. We always aspire to bring people who are leadership luminaries, and you've definitely done that. I think, as I said, your story is very well documented. Your contribution to South Africa and also internationally as well is unparalleled. So we thank you so much for coming here, and we look forward to watching what you're going to do next. I believe you did say that there's a book that you are currently working on now, so you're not done. This is book number
5.
Book number 5.
Watch this movie. I'm still coming.
Yeah.
There'll be book number 6 as well. God allowing me to live longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we sincerely hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for gracing us.
Thank you.
And Lead Podcast family, we've done it again. We've brought you leadership par excellence. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. We will continue to produce more leadership examples. Watch this space. We love you. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.